My name is Helen Duhon, and I am the wife of Dwayne Duhon. We've been married for 35 years. I live in Brentwood. We've lived in Williamson County for 11 years now. We have 3 grown children. Brandon is 30 years old, Marcus is 27 and about to be married, Anna is 22. Our children live in the Williamson County area, except Brandon lives in the Nashville area. I am a speech-language pathologist, and I opened the Franklin Speech and Learning Center 11 years ago. Dwayne and I are both from a small town in southern Louisiana, and I met Dwayne when I was in high school, and we were high school sweethearts, we were college sweethearts. We got married after we both had our degrees. Dwayne graduated in criminal justice, and I graduated in speech and language therapy. So we got married soon after that. We're both from very large families. Dwayne is the youngest of 13, and I'm sorry, 11, and I am the third oldest of 10 children. So we both come from very large families and are still close to our roots in Louisiana, but we absolutely love the Tennessee area, and Williamson County is definitely our home. You know, Dwayne grew up in a law enforcement family. When he was very young, his father was the chief of police of that small community that we lived in. So he was always around law enforcement. He wanted to get a degree in criminal justice, so the whole time while he was in college, he was doing work for the law enforcement agency there. Once he graduated, he got a job with the sheriff's department and was a deputy sheriff, and then later went to the city police department. He also always had an interest in doing side work for companies, like security work or undercover shoplifter, supervision, and he was offered a position with the Kroger Company, a very large food chain. And he accepted it reluctantly, but I felt like that it might open some other doors and other opportunities, and yet his position would still be related to the field of law enforcement. So he accepted that position, and he loved law enforcement so much that he kept connected. He figured out a way to still be involved. And when he took the job with the Kroger Company, he was their security supervisor and risk manager. We moved to Tennessee right away, and one of the first things he did was he established relationships with the local law enforcement communities, with the sheriff's department, with the police departments, and then he did so across the entire state. So he really did want to keep that as a very important part of his life. He became very active in their organizations, doing a lot of volunteer work for them, always attending their conferences, and always making sure that there was a way that he could support the sheriff's departments, the police departments, the FBI, and any other law enforcement agencies who he had the opportunity to help and support. It was always a very important part of his life. You know, I can remember years ago, our children were small, and I can remember Dwayne just being very, very excited because he wanted to be involved with Crime Stoppers, and there had not been a chapter established yet in the Nashville area. So I just remember him being very involved in getting that organization set up, and he worked with a small group of people, and they researched it, and they just did all kinds of things to prepare for the starting up of a charter chapter. And he was in charge of fundraisers and helped to raise lots and lots of money. And that was an exciting time in our lives, too. We had not done that kind of thing before. And he was very involved and was very sincere in his, again, interest in supporting law enforcement. And he was very adamant about the purpose of Crime Stoppers and how it was there to help the police officers. And, the law enforcement needed that extra help, needed civilians to become involved to help solve crime and to help prevent crime. So all these years, he has remained active, has served on the boards, as either the chapter chair or the president of the organization. He's helped with fundraisers. He's done all kinds of neat things to bring money to the organization and to bring attention to the organization. Dwayne is very passionate about anything that he does, and Crime Stoppers was a way also that he could become very involved in the community and make sure that he was doing his part to be supportive of, law enforcement and stopping crime and helping solve crime. Dwayne has always been there for the family. He loves his children, has always been very involved. In the early years, Dwayne did have to do some traveling with this company, but he always made sure that when he came back into town, there was quality time that was spent with the family. Been a devout husband, 35 years is a long time to be married, and I think we'll be, together for another 35 years. Yes, very much a family man, very much concerned about family, wanting to make sure that he is a good provider, and guides the children, gives them direction, very much involved. Dwayne has so many strengths that it's hard to narrow down and just give a few. When you ask that question, some things come to mind. He's very knowledgeable about the law. He understands, he knows, and he has kept up with Tennessee law and with law enforcement responsibilities to the law, and he knows a whole lot about the judiciary system, so he's very knowledgeable about the field. That is one thing. The other thing is Dwayne is a very personable person. He is going to take, every situation for what it's worth and really be thoughtful in how he's going to handle things. I think that his people skills are going to really help him to work with the entire community and to serve the community. I do feel like that he is going to feel like he is a servant and that the community is his customer and that he is going to make sure that what he is doing is right for the community. And he's going to do it by the letter of the law. He is not going to bend. He is not going to play any favors. He is going to be honest. He is going to have the utmost of respect for everyone, but he will not allow, in my opinion, anyone to break the law without some consequences. So I do feel like his strengths are he's very knowledgeable, he's very straightforward, he's very honest, he is not going to offer any special privileges, he is going to hold everyone accountable to obeying the law and to doing what is right. And I think that his people skills will take him far in representing the Sheriff's Department and serving the community. I can remember being at work one day in the schools. I was working as a speech-language pathologist in the public schools, and I can remember people coming to get me out of my session with the children and saying, "Come look at this TV." And there was my husband handling, and there was a live TV coverage of my husband handling a hostage situation. A man who was very upset, I think it was a domestic situation, had taken hostages in a Kroger store. And there were gunshots and there were, I cannot remember the details if anyone had died, but there was shooting and there were people locked in coolers and different awful things were going on. And it was a highly stressful situation. Not a good situation, lots of media coverage, and I could see my husband directing a lot of people. Within a very short period of time, he had all of the right people in place. He had, strategic command centers set up, and he had all of the help that he needed from the law enforcement community, and he was communicating, with the right people, I think perhaps even with the hostage, I'm not sure, but I can remember thinking, oh my gosh, there he is in action. And he's got it all under control. And I truly believe that the way he handled it, things came out, with a better outcome. So it was quite an experience for me to watch. And that's only one example of many things that I've seen.